Alright, what's up you guys? Welcome. Hope everyone had a really good holidays with the family. And as we are approaching December and roughly near the end of the year, it basically means we are near the countdown to having Mortal Kombat 2 come out this year. So what that basically means is in October of 2025, Mortal Kombat 2, the movie, will be released, which will be the sequel to the 2021 Mortal Kombat movie. And there's a lot of concerns that I have for this movie, and I have made a video about it before, but I don't think that video did enough justice to my thoughts, simply because there was just a lot of I guess you can say there's a lot of things going on within the Mortal Kombat community in terms of how will this movie play out, because we know that the first Mortal Kombat 2021 movie, despite having like record-breaking viewerships because it was released during the pandemic, it had a lot of interesting thoughts from people because, you know, whether it was the movie went too fast or the scenarios weren't as coherent, or maybe the storyline was really weak. Regardless, whatever the situation was, maybe it was the roster, maybe it was the just the overall story that didn't really feel like a Mortal Kombat movie. One thing to note here is that the first movie was, you know, it had nothing to do with the actual Mortal Kombat tournament because it was more of a prelude to the tournament. So with all the criticism that the first movie got with the fast death scenes, the very inconsistent fighting, and the introduction to new characters, so in, you know, like Cole Young, it really just left a bitter mark on a lot of people because everyone's expecting a I guess you can say a type of Mortal Kombat movie where it feels like the 95 version, but an updated version to that. And we will talk about all that shortly, but with Todd Garner saying that him and his people really just decided to you know, pay attention to the fan feedback and give us, you know, more blood, more deaths, more fatalities, more, you know, paying attention to the source material. My only concern would have to be, will this movie be more of a fan service, or will this movie be a better job compared to what the first movie did? Now, I actually liked the first Mortal Kombat movie in the 2021 version, and I thought it was okay. However, the more I keep watching it, the more I just can't stand a lot of the dialogues. It felt too cheesy, too bland, and not as original as it can or should be, and it just didn't have that depth that Mortal Kombat needed. And with this movie, you know, with them not, you know, they're just starting off the franchise because they wanted it to be more like a Marvel cinematic or even DC cinematic universe, where, you know, you have like a whole, not just trilogy, but a whole like saga of Mortal Kombat films leading up to probably Onaga at this point. However, if they can't even do the first movie justice, and the second movie adding a plethora of new characters, you know, it just makes it very concerning, because it is probably going to be like a 2-hour-ish, maybe less movie. And, you know, we as Mortal Kombat fans would love to have a movie where it's, you know, it stays true to the Mortal Kombat aesthetic. So let's take a look at the Mortal Kombat 1 roster, and then we will compare it to the Mortal Kombat 2 roster, and then I will definitely kind of shed some light into this, basically where they're heading, because for those who have seen the original 90s Mortal Kombat movies, you had the 95 film and then the 97 film. Now, the 95 film was probably and is the best Mortal Kombat film to date, and it basically is the definitive version of any Mortal Kombat film that we had. And it's sad to say that the 95 movie will still hold up as the best movie we have. You know, the fighting scenes were awesome, the character development was awesome, the pace was amazing, and just the overall animatronics and aesthetics of the ninjas and all that was incredible. And then Annihilation, which was a continuation to that film, ended up kind of taking a huge dive as they added a lot more characters, more fan service, and just overall a lot of fight scenes and just very weird storytelling for that movie. Now, as a kid, I still love both movies, and regardless whatever direction they went in. But as an adult watching those movies, you kind of see Annihilation for what it was, and you see the cheesy dialogues, the corny jokes, and just, you know, the fact that they gave Raiden a haircut was, I don't know what the hell they were even thinking. So that's what I fear that the 2025 Mortal Kombat movie might head in that direction, because there's a lot of things going on in that movie compared to the first one. So let's quickly go over the first roster of the Mortal Kombat film, and then I'll kind of dive into each character and see how they lacked or could have been better for that matter. So in the first Mortal Kombat film, we've had all these characters come into play here. This is including the ones who have died as well. So starting off with Raiden, he was a pretty useless character, didn't really do much, he just was there. He pretty much adopted Cole Young at that point, or not adopted, sorry, he saved Cole Young and kind of just was that character that stood in the background and, like I said, didn't really shine or do much. We don't really know what Raiden could really offer to the Mortal Kombat universe other than him saying he can't get involved in certain stories or transporting himself to certain realms, etc., etc. So a useless character right there. Then we have Liu Kang, who started off pretty decent in that movie. However, we still didn't get to see that Liu Kang that he is, or that Liu Kang that everybody loves. Yes, it is like a, again, prelude to the actual Mortal Kombat tournament, but this Liu Kang didn't shine. He didn't define anything. He was just, again, another character that was sidetracked because there was another character kind of overshadowing him. And this Liu Kang, despite having some cool fight scenes and some training sessions, he just didn't really, it just didn't seem like it was Liu Kang. It just felt like a generic martial arts monk. We don't know what his purpose was. We didn't know why he is the way he is. All we know is that he was just recruited in the group of Earthrealm warriors to protect against Outworld. So that's what made it pretty lackluster. Sonya Blade did most of the storylines for that movie, where she was trying to protect our main hero Cole Young, and with her partner Jax, she's just basically trying to find Kano and just eliminate the Dragon Clan. So even then, Sonya Blade, despite having some cool fighting scenes here and there, most of her problems within this movie was just her not having a dragon logo already on her like shoulder or neck or whatever, because she was trying to find her katana or arcana or whatever it was called. And so she just had like her own motives, and she was okay. She was just part of the special forces doing her thing. Jax had a very interesting storyline where he got his arms ripped off by Sub-Zero, and then his whole motive of that movie was to really just overcome his fears of not utilizing his arms, which gave him the strength of the mechanical arms that the I guess you can say Raiden's temple kind of gave him. Cole Young was the new character that WB had added into the Mortal Kombat universe, which completely overshadowed Liu Kang because no one asked for this character. Now, regardless how cool the actor who played Cole Young is, like, I think he's really badass. He's a great fighter. It's just to add a brand new character into the Mortal Kombat universe, especially that being a live action movie, is extremely difficult to do because, one, we have to have a special connection to that character. We need to have a character that people can relate to and just overall say, yeah, he contributes to Mortal Kombat. Cole Young was just a failed fighter, and because he had the birthmark dragon logo and an ancestor to the original Scorpion, that's basically his contribution to Mortal Kombat because yeah, it's just, there was no reason to add this character whatsoever. It was just a WB decision, and it was just one of those things where they added him for the sake of, you know, giving it more overwhelming and confusing storyline plots because they're trying to fit in all these characters. And then last of the Earthrealm heroes, we've had Kung Lao, who unfortunately died, and he is my favorite Mortal Kombat character. Now, Kung Lao basically got his soul ripped out from Shang Tsung, and even then we still didn't get to see the dynamic connection between Kung Lao and Liu Kang, even though despite Liu Kang mourning for the loss of his best friend and brother, we didn't get to see Kung Lao shine the way he did, and despite having a pretty decent fight scene with Nitara, it just didn't really give us that Kung Lao that a lot of us probably were expecting. And he was the first Kung Lao to be inducted into the Mortal Kombat universe, at least live action films, because the last time we saw Kung Lao was Mortal Kombat Conquest in the 90s, and that was an actual TV show, and that was the Great Kung Lao and not the actual you know, the normal Kung Lao that we all mostly grew up with. So to have my favorite character already die, it is what it is. But again, no one really dies in Mortal Kombat because they come back to life. Shang Tsung, I don't really know what to say about this character. He just kind of, I don't know, like, he was pretty lackluster. We all know that the first 95 movie Shang Tsung was completely amazing and badass. Nothing can defeat that version of him. This Shang Tsung, it's like we don't know what his motives are, why he is the way he is, what is he trying to accomplish. He just had some cool armor on him, but it just didn't really showcase like he was a crazy sorcerer like the original Shang Tsung did. So this one was just pretty I don't know, it didn't resonate with anybody because he was just kind of telling people like, yeah, I'm recruiting all these villains and we're gonna attack Raiden's temple, and it was just like, why? Like, I get it, there's no Mortal Kombat tournament, but he's basically manipulating and invading the temple before the tournament even begins, which is basically just kind of going against the rules of Mortal Kombat. Scorpion, aka Hanzo Hasashi, we've seen him in the beginning of the film, and we saw the death of his son and wife, and again, that was pretty cool. And then we get to briefly see a cool fight scene between him and Bi-Han, and after that he disappears. We don't know how he became Scorpion. He just randomly shows up by the end of the movie, has his 5-minute or 10-minute fight scene, a 2-on-1 with Sub-Zero and Cole Young, and it just didn't do anything. It was just like, okay, he was in the beginning of the movie, he wants to get revenge, but he disappears throughout the entire movie and then comes back at the end. It doesn't do anything. It was pretty devastating to see like a fan favorite character get like 10 minutes of screen time. Pretty disappointing for that matter. Kano was probably the only highlight because he was the comedic relief of the entire movie, and he was trying to find his arcana, whatever that was, and he got to utilize his his laser eye. And despite Sonya Blade stabbing him and quote unquote killing him in the movie, we know that he's not necessarily dead because he is returning for the second film. Nitara was completely useless. Don't care about that character one bit. She was just a fan service random addition character added into the Mortal Kombat universe. Reiko was another pointless character. He has so much potential to be one of the coolest Mortal Kombat characters, but in this movie, Jax basically squashed his head together and gave him a fatality, so that was unfortunate. Cabal dies through the hands of Liu Kang after doing a Dragon Fire fatality on him, and Cabal was probably a really, really cool character, despite his voice acting a bit weird, but it works. And Cabal, they briefly shared the origins of Cabal and Kano as they talked about how Kano kind of betrayed Cabal and then left him to have like the nozzles and fumes, or like, you know, the breathing apparatus. So, but we don't really see anything. It was like literally like a 1-minute conversation about that. And unfortunately, Cabal just dies. So by the hands of Liu Kang, and the fight scene was pretty cool. Even though Cabal is a really cool character, it just sucks to see him like disappear like that. Goro, who's supposed to be a very menacing, destructful beast of a character, they used CGI unlike animatronics from the 95 film, and Cole Young just kind of, you know, defeats him. And that's really unfortunate because Goro is supposed to be the biggest and beast of a character, and to have Cole Young just kind of destroy him looked very pointless and pathetic to me. So that was very, unacceptable. Melina does not have any character trait with Kitana, as she was her own character under the Shang Tsung regime, and she fights Sonya Blade and then gets killed, which we don't really see anything about Melina. We don't know what Melina is, who she is, why she is the way she is. She was just there. And same goes with Sub-Zero, because we've seen Bi-Han in the beginning of the film, and then out of nowhere Bi-Han basically is already part of Shang Tsung's roster, and you're just like, what, how? Like, they jumped ship so many times within this film. You're kind of like, what the hell is going on? And you're getting really confused. And the thing that's really frustrating about this movie is that they just go from one thing to another. You know, you have all these characters, they're trying to establish a universe, they're trying to establish background stories, and they're just failing miserably because each character has a very deep lore to them, and they're kind of like switching back and forth, and it's just really not doing a good job at it. And the thing that really makes it frustrating is that they do all this talking within the middle of the film to only have, you know, one main fight scene kind of near the middle of the film, and then you have the last fight scene where within like 5 minutes of the film everyone just gets revenge and kind of kills everyone, and then they're just like, you know, yeah, Earthrealm wins. So it's very disappointing that it was so fast-paced, so rushed, and it just felt like they didn't put a lot of effort and care. It was more like they just focused a lot on the costumes and wanted to get the background sceneries, or wanted to get the actual the locations look more like Mortal Kombat rather than giving that Mortal Kombat aesthetic. Because again, you watch the 95 film, everything looked like, you know, Outworld looked like Outworld. Earthrealm, the temples looked really cool. Here in this film, the locations just look like a generic Australian desert. The Raiden's temple just looked like a random cave, and Shang Tsung's Outworld just looked very, you know, I don't know, just looked very lackluster, and kind of just didn't really show like an army of how Shang Tsung really corrupts. He's just sitting there on his throne, and you're just like, oh, so he owns that whole desert? Like, that's kind of stupid. So yeah. So those are the first Mortal Kombat 1 roster, and this is where it's going to get really, really complicated, because in October of 2025, we're going to see the Mortal Kombat 2 movie come out, and where it's going to get really complicated is by looking at the second roster of the Mortal Kombat 2 film. Not only do we have Raiden, Liu Kang, Sonya Blade, Jax, Cole Young, Kung Lao does return because he was seen in the behind the scenes making already. Scorpion, Kano, and Shang Tsung. So basically, most and all of the main characters from the first film return. However, what makes it even more complicated is that in this film, we have the additions of Shao Kahn, we have Kitana, we have Sindel, we have Jade, we have Johnny Cage, Noob Saibot, who is formerly Sub-Zero, we have Baraka, and then we have Quan Chi. And then we have King Jared, which will... So if we quickly break this down, we already have the first movie loopholes or the inconsistent storytelling that needs to be shared or addressed. For example, we need to see how Raiden will establish the Mortal Kombat tournament, because the second movie is supposed to be in the tournament. We're supposed to see how Raiden is supposed to gather the Earthrealm warriors and how they prepare for the tournament. So Raiden better step his game up. Liu Kang is going to be mourning the loss of his brother Kung Lao, so we got to see how Kung Lao returns. Maybe he'll be a revenant, maybe he's just a ghost, maybe it's a small cameo, who knows. And again, we still don't know anything much about Liu Kang. His storyline was so overshadowed by Cole Young, which in this film he's going to be scouting Johnny Cage. Then we have Sonya Blade and Jax, in which I don't really know what they're going to do in this movie other than probably look for the Black Dragon clan. Then we have Scorpion, who's supposedly returning to only have stated that he has like 10 minutes of fighting scenes within this movie, or 10-minute screen time. So I don't know how that's going to turn out, because Noob Saibot is formed after the death of Sub-Zero from the first film. Kano, we saw he got stabbed, and then he'd probably get his revenge on Sonya Blade and Jax, so we'll see how that's going to turn out. And Shang Tsung, like I mentioned earlier, him and Raiden are going to be feuding about the tournament, so we're going to see how that's going to play out. So we have all these storylines that still need to be addressed from the first film, while adding the additions of Shao Kahn, who realistically in the Mortal Kombat lore is pissed off at Shang Tsung for failing to win the first tournament. So we haven't even got the first tournament yet, and we're already introduced to Shao Kahn, who will probably be invading Edenia, and we have Kitana and Sindel. So now we have those other storylines of how Sindel will probably lose her husband King Jared and then be under the spell of Shao Kahn, and Kitana will be the resistant fighter to go against her mother and stepfather Shao Kahn. So that's already a deep storyline that they need to cover. So it looks like we already have like a half an hour of that into this movie, because again, all those first movie characters, and then we have to see how everyone else will play out. And then Jade will most likely be Kitana's lackey, or for better or worse, companion. So I don't know what Jade will do in this film other than kind of probably protect Kitana, or maybe go against her. I'm not too sure. Johnny Cage is going to be the highlight of this film, because he is the comedic relief, and I absolutely hate Johnny Cage. But Cole Young still has to establish a storyline with hey, how's it going? I don't know how to read that, but welcome to the chat. So, and it's in Arabic, so I apologize if I cannot read that properly. And so Cole Young basically has to establish the relationships with his daughter and his wife while scouting Johnny Cage, while building the Mortal Kombat Earthrealm fighters. So that's already a lot on his plate within the 2-hour film. And then Johnny Cage, again, we're gonna have to see him become the failed movie star, and apparently based on what the consensus is of the early screenings, they said that, you know, Johnny Cage has a lot of screen time, I guess, or a lot of comedic line. I'm not too sure. I forgot how that went. With Noob Saibot, again, he's automatically within this film, as we have to see how he will get revenge on Cole Young and Scorpion for killing him, because we don't have Kuai Liang just yet, but Bihan will definitely, as he's already turned to Noob Saibot. Now, if you don't know, there's already a huge storyline involving Noob Saibot, because how are they going to incorporate this within the Mortal Kombat film? Noob Saibot was created by Quan Chi. So Quan Chi is responsible for the fighting of the clans between the Shirai Ryu and the Ling Kuei. So now we have to have that storyline of how Quan Chi will manipulate Scorpion to think that Sub-Zero was the one that killed his wife and son, and then we just have to see how that storyline of Quan Chi plays out, because Quan Chi is a very pivotal character and role to the Sub-Zero, Noob Saibot, and Scorpion storyline. So that's already a lot to take in for that. And then we have Baraka, who's his disastrous Mortal Kombat Annihilation baseball jersey and rubber mask version. And Baraka just seems like so we have the whole Tarkatan plague coming into effect here, because the Tarkatans are a race that are, I guess, loosely speaking, are hired by Shao Kahn. So we have to see how the Tarkatans play a big role in this as well, because you don't want to have Baraka just be a normal jobber of a character. So this is what makes it my concerns, is that we have all these characters who have such a deep lore to them, and you're already introducing us to the storylines of Shao Kahn, Kitana, Sindel, and Jade and King Jared. So that's one storyline. And then you have another storyline of Noob Saibot, Quan Chi, and Scorpion, and Cole Young possibly. So that's another storyline. And then you have the storyline of Raiden, Liu Kang, and Kung Lao probably, and Shang Tsung. And then you have the storyline of Sonya Blade, Jax, and Kano. And then you have whatever storyline Johnny Cage will do, if he's gonna, whatever with Sonya Blade, or just randomly be that character who's just gonna crack a lot of jokes. So overall, the main point of this live stream is really just to share my thoughts that this is a lot of characters and a lot of backstories to uncover within probably a 2-hour film. I don't know how they're going to do this. I don't know what they're going to do. I just hope it does not feel rushed. I hope it seems like it's going to be more of a fan service movie with just a lot of fighting and a lot of fatalities and a lot of action story-wise, and especially involving the Mortal Kombat tournament on top of all these characters. It seems like it's going to be very, very rushed and intense, and other than fan service, I hope that the storylines really progress, because again, 2-hour movie and you have like 6 different storylines within that, and they have to lead all those into each other, and to me it just seems impossible. It doesn't make any sense, but I'm being really optimistic and hoping that this movie may be better than the first movie. But we're just I feel kind of confused as to why they added so many, because that's what Annihilation did in the 97 film. They just added a bunch of characters in there for fan service to dive further into the Mortal Kombat lore. A lot of them had no backstory. They all just fought, they died, and they're just there for no reason. So you don't want these characters to be sidelined and sidetracked, because they are very pivotal to the Mortal Kombat universe, and to have them each be sidetracked by characters that are not even supposed to be in Mortal Kombat, it just makes it very confusing for that matter. So I don't know. That's why I'm going to leave it an open-ended live stream. So for those that are going to be watching this video after the live stream's over, you can go ahead and leave a comment below what you think will happen in this film. And other than that, I think that's pretty much it. And we'll come back to this video at another time, because we still have the whole trailer and teasers and all that to go over. So for those that are going to watch this live stream later, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next episode. And let me know what you guys think in the comments below of how this movie will turn out. Take care and see